Hey guys, it's Vera Wylde, and I wanted to talk a little bit more today about having made the leap to get my ears pierced, which was something I mentioned in a video a few months back, and I said I would talk about more after I'd had more time and more experience with them, and after they'd healed up and I was able to swap out sort of the starting hoops for something, you know, maybe a bit more extravagant, like this is, which is something that I put in just to kind of show off, basically. But as I mentioned in some previous videos, what I used to do as far as ears go is I always had clip-on earrings, and I used them for a very long time. There are advantages and drawbacks to them. Obviously, if you don't want to get your ears pierced, they are kind of your only option, but they can pinch after a while. They tend to almost always be made of very low-grade metals, you know, the kind of thing that turns your skin green if you wear it too much. So, you know, I did eventually get to the point where I was making that leap. And a reminder, if you didn't see my last video, what sort of held me back for a long time was that in my head, I didn't like the look of guys with earrings. And since the majority of the time I'm operating in guy mode, you know, the idea of having to have something in the ear to make sure the hole doesn't close, it's not a look I really love. Now, that started to shift as I have started to think of myself less in terms of I'm either being a woman or I'm being a man, and sort of allowing myself to blend the two a little bit, and I came to a more comfortable place in terms of the idea of having earrings in all the time and then being able to do, you know, more fun, more exotic and playful ones when I do, you know, the full dress as Vera. So, over here, this is the sort of thing that I'm wearing day to day as a man, which is, for lack of a better term, I call it kind of a masculine hoop. It's thick, it's all metal. This particular one's got kind of a blue tinge to it, but I've got some that are like this that are all black. I've got a gold one, which I don't think I wear at all. It's a little too piratey for me. But this is the sort of thing that I wear day to day. I also have some studs, which I'll sometimes wear as well. And again, you know, same sort of thing. And how feminine or masculine the stud is just depends on the look and the design of it. Like for instance, I have some Wonder Woman studs. I don't wear those to work. But you know, I have some more plain studs. I mean, that's sort of the thing. The more plain the earring is, the sort of more, I guess, acceptable it is for a man to have them. And it was never a question of, oh, if I pierce my ears, people will know I'm cross-dressing or they'll think I want to transition. There's enough guys with earrings. That was never the concern. For me, it was just my own sort of personal, I don't like that look. And I had to come to a new place in terms of my own gender to get to a better place with that. So just a couple of things I wanted to share about my experience of now having my ears pierced. The first thing is something I actually just learned in getting set up for this video. If you are putting on earrings over a sink, make sure the sink is stopped up first, because if you drop an earring and it goes down the drain, that's it, you've lost that earring. So it wasn't either one of these, but yeah, I did have that happen right before shooting this video. So there's a last minute learned little pro tip. In terms of other things, sort of the one kind of odd thing that I hadn't realized was going to happen was I wear earbuds a lot, you know, at my job, walking around, because I'm either listening to music, I'm listening to podcasts and that sort of stuff. And when I'm on my lunch break at work, I take walks. I take rather long walks, and I have the earbuds in, and even with something as small as this, the earbud would kind of bump it on occasion, and just sort of it wasn't loud or anything, but it was just sort of a little clunk that I would get, especially if I was doing anything like trying to do more than walk, you know, trying to jog or trying to run or whatever. And that hadn't occurred to me that would happen. So that was just one of those little things that caught me off guard. But you know, getting my ears pierced, basically, so far as I can tell, nobody's really noticed, or if they do, they don't care, which doesn't shock me. But again, it's one of those things that, you know, dressers, we over worry, we over analyze, we think of all the reasons that somebody might realize, you know, this thing that we do, if we're not completely out with it. Which, if you're a cross dresser rather than someone who is actually transgender and who actually plans to transition, odds are you're probably not out with it, except with people you're really close to, just because it's hard to explain. And it's hard for people to wrap their heads around, so it's just easier not to involve it in things like your work life or family members that, you know, are more distant, that you don't see that often. And it's just, you know what? I don't need to confuse you with that. And because most of us sort of have that going on, we tend to get very overly critical of ourselves in terms of what might be giving us away. Earrings, not so much, not at all. I suppose the other thing I would say is that if you are going to make the leap and start getting proper earrings, getting your ears pierced, first of all, don't go to Claire's. Don't go to a mall where they're going to use a gun. Go to a piercing shop, a tattoo parlor where they're going to use a needle and do it properly, because it's just more sanitary. And the other thing is, in terms of what to get, I mean, get whatever style you want, certainly, because, you know, I've got these, and I've got the studs, and I've got some big hoops, which are fun. But also try and stay away from the cheap grade materials, which is the kind of stuff that the clip-ons tend to be made of. Anything with nickel in it, I would avoid. And an actual allergy to nickel is not the most common thing in the world, but it's such a low-grade metal anyway, I wouldn't recommend putting it in your ear, even if you don't have an outright reaction or allergy to it. I would say just stick to anything that either says stainless steel or sterling silver. Those are both very safe bets and not that expensive. I mean, you know, if you're used to buying clip-ons and you're used to spending, you know, $5 on earrings, you're going to be spending more than that. So realize that, but they're not excessively, like these were not that expensive. This, I got a set of 4. They weren't that expensive, but it is a little more money, and it's money worth spending because you're sticking something into your body. I mean, realize that when you stick something through there, it is penetrating your skin. It is inside your body. You kind of don't want junk in there. So I guess that's it. That's it for me talking about, you know, sort of my new lessons, new experiences in actually having my ears pierced and not just faking it anymore. So wanted to let you guys know where I was with that, and hope you found that interesting or helpful or whatever. So until next time, guys.